Hello, my Storytime friends. How are you doing today? Good. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So, should we start with our hello song? Let's do it. Hello, how do you do? It's good to be with you. Hello, how do you do? It's good to be with you. Hello, how do you do? It's good to be with you. It's good to be with you at Storytime. I'm so happy you were able to join us today. Does anyone know what day February 2nd is? It's a tricky one. I'm going to give you a hint. This is a visual hint. What's that? It's a groundhog. That's right. February 2nd is Groundhog's Day. Let's talk a little bit about Groundhog's Day. It's on February 2nd. So basically, it's a legend that tells us if the groundhog pops out of its den and sees his shadow, that means 6 more weeks of winter. If the groundhog pops out and doesn't see a shadow, early spring. Will the groundhog see his shadow on February 2nd? We won't know until February 2nd, but let's make a prediction. A prediction is another word for a guess. So let's guess. Do you think the groundhog will see his shadow on February 2nd? I talked to my niece this morning. Hi, Claire. And she thinks that the groundhog will see his shadow. Yes. So she thinks it's going to be sunny. Who here thinks it's going to be sunny and the groundhog will see his shadow? 6 more weeks of winter. Who thinks the groundhog is not going to see his shadow? No. You think it's going to be cloudy? If it's cloudy, then he will not see his shadow. So, I guess only time will tell. So on February 2nd, maybe take your favorite stuffed animal, take him outside and hold him out and see if you can see your stuffed animal's shadow. I think we need to read a story. What do you think? Yeah. Do you have your magic fingers with you? Can you wiggle them? Give me all your magic. Are you ready? I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Poof! Let's see what's in the magic book bag. It's a book called Substitute Groundhog. Let's read it. Substitute Groundhog, written by Pat Miller, illustrated by Kathy Ember, published by Albert Whitman and Company. The day before Groundhog Day, Groundhog woke up sick. His muscles ached and his throat hurt. Groundhog felt so awful he went to see Dr. Owl. "You have a bad case of flu, you do," said Dr. Owl. "You may need hot clover soup and bed rest for 2 days." "How many?" asked Groundhog. Two, hooted Owl. But Groundhog Day was tomorrow. Groundhog couldn't let everyone down because he was too sick to do his job. He tried to think of something. On his way home to bed, Groundhog passed the Hidey Hole Diner. He saw want ads from all the neighborhood animals tacked to a nearby tree. Skunk was looking for a roommate. Again. Mr. and Mrs. Duck were returning north and had their nest for rent. "I know what I'll do," Groundhog thought. "I'll advertise for a substitute groundhog. Weather teller wanted. No experience needed. Apply at Groundhog's Hole, February 1st, 10 a.m. Thanks, Groundhog." By 10 o'clock, a line of animals waited to try out. "Great," said Groundhog with a sneeze. "Surely one of you can do Groundhog Day for me." Mole was first. "You have to go down in my hole," Groundhog told Mole. "It's pretty dark down there." "No problem," said Mole. "My own hole is even darker." Mole got comfortable underground. Now come up and look for your shadow, Groundhog shouted. Mole peeked over the edge. His little eyes squinted. Well, Mole, what do you see? Mole spoke to a tree. Is that you, Groundhog? Groundhog blew his nose. This won't work. I need somebody who sees well. I can see well, said a voice from high overhead. Groundhog looked up and saw Eagle. Owl swooped down. From that mountain ledge, Groundhog, I could see a bit of owl feather stuck in your fur. I'd say you've been to Dr. Owl recently. Wow, then surely you will have no trouble seeing your shadow, said Groundhog. Climb down in the hole and let's practice. Climb down, said Eagle. He looked at the entrance to the hole. Will there be a room down there to stretch my wings? He stretched them wide, very wide. Groundhog rubbed his scratchy throat. This won't work. I need someone who sees well and is not bothered by small spaces. Bear stepped up next. My own cave is snug and cozy. Great, said Groundhog. Climb down and let's practice. This is perfect, yelled Bear from the hole. It's even more comfy than my own cave. Come out and take a look, called Groundhog. There was no answer. Groundhog poked his head below ground. Bear, come look for your shadow. The only answer was a deep, slow snore. Groundhog was frustrated. He needed a substitute who could see well, wasn't bothered by small spaces, and wouldn't fall asleep. I can do it, let me try. Squirrel bounced to the front of the line. Okay, said Groundhog. Go down in the hole, come back up, and look for your shadow. Squirrel leaped in. Whee! Then she popped her head back up. Groundhog said, See your shadow? Oh, I forgot to look. Down she went. She popped back up. She dropped back down. I keep forgetting to look. Squirrel giggled. She popped up and down some more. This is fun, she said. But what Groundhog needed was someone who would pop up and stay up. By now, Groundhog was feeling even worse. He thought of his warm bed. Was he ever going to find a substitute? Howdy there, Groundhog. How about giving me a chance? Up stepped a strange-looking creature. My name is Armadillo, he said. You're not from around here, are you? Asked Groundhog. Nope, I'm from Texas, visiting my cousin Badger, she said. But I can do this job. I live in a hole. I like small spaces. I see my shadow just fine, and I will pop up and stay up. Groundhog wasn't so sure. Armadillo was a stranger from far away. What did she know about the weather here? But she did have all the qualifications for the job. All right, said Groundhog. Let's see how you do. Armadillo climbed down into Groundhog's hole. She poked her head up and looked around. Sure enough, she saw her shadow. If that happens tomorrow, tell folks that winter will drag on, said Groundhog. But if you don't see your shadow tomorrow, spring will come early. Got it, said Armadillo. I think you're just the substitute I've been looking for, said Groundhog. You're hired. Thanks, said Armadillo. They shook paws. Then Groundhog climbed down into his hole into bed. He sipped warm clover soup. He plumped his pillows and tucked his sore self under the flannel quilt. The next morning, the animals gathered early to hear what Armadillo would say. It was cold and crisp as the sun peeked over the forest. Badger served hot chocolate. Squirrel bounced and cheered for Armadillo. Eagle flew high above the trees. Muddy Mole looked sleepy, and Bear was still in bed. The animals grew quiet as Armadillo poked her head up and carefully looked around. There on the ground she saw the shadow of her tiny ears and pointy nose. 6 more weeks of winter, she announced. Armadillo dropped back into Groundhog's hole. Did you hear that, Groundhog? 6 more weeks of winter. Groundhog groaned from his bed. How you feeling, Groundhog? Armadillo asked. A little better, but I'd feel a lot better if it was spring already, Groundhog said. Spring already? said Armadillo. Say, that gives me an idea. Armadillo found Groundhog's suitcase. Get your gear together, Groundhog, she said. It's already spring in Texas. You can come home with me. Really? Said Groundhog. He imagined himself rolling in the warm grass instead of sneezing through 6 more weeks of cold. You bet, said Armadillo. Groundhog jumped from his bed. He grabbed his teddy bear and his toothbrush and tossed them into his suitcase. I've always wanted to see Texas. Do you think they have cowboy hats in my size? Asked Groundhog. Sure as Texas has a Lone Star, said Armadillo. Together they walked through the cold to the bus station, and their shadows followed them all the way there. Let's do a little groundhog craft. So what I have here is just a brown paper bag, some glue, I've got some scissors, 2 googly eyes, a black circle that I cut out of construction paper, 2 brown circle ears that I also cut out of construction paper, and I grabbed a green piece of construction paper, and then I just cut these, and you can get a grown-up to help you if you need. Let's get started. I'm going to glue on the brown ear just behind, just like that. Another one behind there. There's his ears. Perfect. Some eyeballs. He needs to be able to see his shadow. Perfect. And I'm also going to glue on this little white square is going to be his teeth. I'm going to stick the nose right on top. Oh, there. Super cute. I'm just going to draw a little line to separate his 2 teeth. Make a couple whiskers. That looks like a groundhog to me. And I'm also going to just take the green grass and I'm going to just fold it. You can cut it if you like. Just like so. So I might glue that or, yeah, I think I'm going to glue the back here. Oop, take the lid off, that was silly. The 2 sides, glue that down. I'm just going to trim the bottom so it's easier for me to get my hand in my new puppet. Isn't that cute? Now you have your own little groundhog that can pop out of its den and see if you will see his shadow. There's our puppet. Turned out so cute. Little groundhog. You gonna name your groundhog? Here's a little groundhog, furry and brown. He comes up to look around. If he sees his shadow, down he goes for 6 more weeks of winter snow. Let's try it one more time. Here's a little groundhog, furry and brown. He's coming up to look around. If he sees his shadow, down he goes for 6 more weeks of winter snow. That silly groundhog. Do you think we have time for one more story? I hope so. Let's try it. Give me some more magic. We're gonna count to 3 again. Ready? Wiggle those fingers. 1, 2, 3. Poof! Let's see if there's anything left in the magic book bag. Oh, gee, let's see what this says. Who will see their shadow this year? This looks like a good one. Let's read it. Who Will See Their Shadows This Year by Jerry Pallotta and David Bierzicki. It is February 2nd. The animals are tired of winter. If a groundhog casts a shadow, it means 6 more weeks of winter. But why should the groundhog always be famous? What about us? Let me try my shadow, said the chicken. Oops, it causes a rainstorm. The polar bear tries its shadow. Its huge shadow causes a blizzard. The camel tries. Its shadow starts a sandstorm. The dog shows its shadow. Bow wow, it gets foggy. Will the pig shadows work? I wonder what's going to happen next. Oink, it's a hurricane. When the buffalo shows its shadow, it sleets. The animals are getting frustrated. How can we bring spring? What about a panda shadow? Ping, 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 it starts to hail. Try a koala shadow. Gale force winds, still no spring. Maybe the butterfly shadow will work. Hot, sweaty, and muggy. The ring-tailed lemur swings in to show its shadow. It gets misty like in a rainforest. A peacock shadow might bring spring. Wow, it's a tornado. The noise awakens the groundhog. Look, the groundhog has no shadow. It's spring, it's spring. Winter is over. Happy Groundhog Day. Well, it's time to say our goodbye song. I hope you all had fun talking about Groundhog Day with Miss Catherine today. I sure had fun. We'll see on February 2nd if the groundhog sees his shadow or not. We'll have to wait and see. For now, put your hands behind your back. Get ready for the goodbye song. Where is my thumb? Where is my thumb? Here I am. Here I am. Did you have a good time? Yes, I had a good time. Time to go. Hide away. Where is my hand? Where is my hand? Here I am. Here I am. It's time to wave goodbye now. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye now. We'll see you next time at story time. I sure hope I see you again next week. Stay safe, everyone.